Hello everyone, you're welcome to the final part of this video, and in this video we'll be basically talking on how to make a 720-degree peplum and this full sleeve. So if this is what you like, you can continue watching, and please don't forget to like, subscribe and drop a beautiful comment. Thank you. So right now I'll be explaining how to calculate a 720-degree flare, how to get it. And for the calculations, we're going to be needing, I'll be stating what we're going to be needing. So we'll be needing our waist round, we'll be needing the top length, and there's actually a constant which you use in calculating it, which is 6.28. So for the waist round, you'll be adding extra 3 inches when calculating your radius so that you can have accommodation for allowance. And after this question, I'll be stating the next thing, which I stated earlier was the peplum length and then the 6.28 constant. Okay, so to get your peplum length, what you do is you divide your half length from your full blouse length, or you can measure from your half length to where you want the peplum length to be. And so the next thing I'll be stating here is my 6.28 constant. And so the next thing I'll be explaining how you get a 360-degree flare and a 720-degree. So the next thing we want to do now is this waist round that we've gotten, which is 26 plus 3, our doing an hour. We are going to divide it by our constant of 6.28, and mind you, this measurement is just going to give you 360-degree flare. What I have here is 4.6, which is going to serve as our radius for 360 degree. So getting a 720-degree flare, so you're going to divide your 720 by 360, and what you have, you divide your waist by it. So I'll be writing that down so that you can see how I'm going to go about it. So I apologize for my hand covering this. So I'm doing 720 divided by 360, and whatever I'm going to have, I'm going to individually divide whatever I have. So 720 divided by 360 is 2, and 29 divided by 2, whatever I have is going to be 14.5 divided by 6.28, and I'm going, that's my individual radius for each, to give me my 360 degree. And alternatively, if you do not want to go through this process, you could just say get whatever measurement you have, which is your 720 your 29 divided by 6.28, you just divide it by 2, and whatever you have also serve. So at this point, okay, so now our 14.5 is what we're going to divide by 6.28 to get our radius for this 360. And this is what we are going to have. This radius we're going to be cutting it in 2 places because it's a 720-degree flare. And mind you, so if you are, for instance, if you're going to work with like a 1440-degree flare, you're going to divide that same 1440 by 360, and whatever you have, it should be 4 years. Whatever you have, this same process is still the same thing you're going to follow. And also, if you're going to work with a 180-degree, that is, you're coming down, right? So for a 180-degree, what you just do, you just get to like divide it, which I'm just trying to like illustrate, give you a picture of how other flares will work around. So for a 180-degree, you just divide it by 360, and whatever you have also, you work with it. So that is how this works. So we've actually gotten our radius, which is 2.3, and because when we divide our 720 by 360, we got 2. So we're going to be cutting our radius that we got into 2 places. So like as I fold this now, this is how you're going to go ahead to fold whatever you have. Your fabric, you're going to go ahead to fold your fabric. I'm just using a paper to illustrate this because if I use my fabric, it will not, my camera will not be able to cover. And your peplum length plus radius is what you're going to use to mark from the top. So for the peplum length, if you're working with 11, then you add it to 2.3, which is the radius, and you're going to mark it round and cut out. So that is how you're going to get the length. Okay, so while cutting that out, my camera went off, so I'll be illustrating it again. So like I said, from when you after folding it like this, you're going to measure your peplum length plus your your radius length. You're going to add it together. So if you're working with 11, that is 11 plus 2.3, that is 12.3. And then you go ahead to mark what you have round, and just try to ensure you cut it well. So I'm just like doing this like that because of, so from that top part is where you're going to mark out your radius that you have on your fabric. So you just go ahead, mark it round and connect. Ensure you connect it well and go ahead to use your scissors and cut out. So this is how you're going to do. You're going to do this for in you're going to cut this out in two places. Don't forget, the reason why we're cutting out in two places is because when we divided 720 from by 360 we had to, so we're going to cut this out in two places. And after cutting out in two places, you just want to go ahead to join it together. So I'll be showing you what I have after what I have for my fabric after cutting it out. So this is my fabric and I've gone ahead to follow the same process to cut out my fabric in two places, and I've also gone ahead to join it together. I did same for also the lining, and I used an the cloth gum to gum it to make it firm a bit. So you could also go ahead to use a crinoline, or you could also use a peplum stay for this. So after this, the next thing I want to do here is to sew my fabric to the lining for a good finishing. So I'll just go ahead to place it just as you can see and sew it down. So come in by half inches and go ahead to sew it round. And after sewing round, I'll just want to go ahead to turn it over, and that is that for the peplum. So after turning over, don't forget to go ahead to also press and sew the top part. So this is what we have. So I just went ahead to cut out the midpoint. You could to get the front backs, there'll be no need for you to cut it out. So because I wanted to do something. So you just want to go ahead to get your upper part and place it like this. Ensure to fold it well, place it well, ensure everything is well laid, and just for you to get that effect. And after laying it like this, you just want to go ahead, mark it out. You can either mark it out or use a pin to hold it down while cutting out. So after marking out on the line which I did, I would just want to go ahead to cut out. So while cutting out, just try to add an extra half inches. I don't know, I did that, but I was like, the video was fast. So add an extra half inches up, which will serve as sewing allowance. And this is this, and you just want to go ahead, place it. I'll just show you as I will go ahead to place it just like this and go ahead to sew it round. So you could use your office pin to lay it hold so that it does not disturb you. So after that, because of I opened this midpoint, I'll just want to go ahead to join it. Like I said, I wanted to do something, that was why I opened that part, so there might be no need of you doing that. So our blouse is, should I say 80% or 70% ready, because what is just left is the sleeve. So for this sleeve, I've gone ahead to mark out my vertical point. So this first point, I came down by 5 inches, which is the calf and my bicep and my length. So I've gone ahead to mark everything down. So after marking everything down, so from my top to my bicep is 5 and my my to 11 inches. So that is that. I just want to go ahead to use a free hand to curve it down. I just want to curve it. I was not really concerned about how the curve is going to be, because I'm going to be doing slash and spread, and that part is going to be very full. On my bicep, I would just want to go ahead to mark out my bicep round divided by 2 and mark out my ankle round divided by 2 and go ahead to use my, sorry, not ankle, wrist round divided by 2 and use my pattern ruler to connect it. And after this, I just want to go ahead and mark everything, ensure it's correct, and you just want to cut it out and draft out your slash and spread method. So this is, so after cutting out, what you want to do now is to slash. So you could slash to as many pointers you want it to be. So if you want this to be very full, you could slash it. I don't know, for this top there might be no need of you wanting it to be very full, but it all depends on preference. So if you want yours to be very full, so after slashing out, because of the down part has a band like, so I just want to come up by about 5 inches for that part. 5 to, you can do 5 to 4 inches. you come up and go ahead to mark it out and cut out. So this part, we are not going to be slashing this particular part that I'm going to cut out, and that other part we're going to be slashing it out. So I'll just go ahead to use my scissors and cut this out, and that is that for this. So we're going ahead to cut our fabric. So after cutting this out, I would also like to advise that you mark this down part so that when cutting the fabric, you won't be confused. So I just want to go to mark out the center and the top part, which is what I'm doing here, so that I'm just trying to avoid confusion. So this is what we have. And for this up part, I've gone ahead to slash it. You could do 1 inch spacing while slashing. I did it for the two parts, and while cutting round, I added about half inches. So at the end of the day, what we're going to do is just to gather the up part back to the normal top that we have. So this is the down part. I've gone ahead to cut it out. I went ahead to cut out same thing that I had for both the Ankara fabric and for the lace, and I just want to explain how you go about it here. So you shouldn't forget, as I placed it, you like follow that as a guide, and you go ahead to cut out same thing for both the lace and the Ankara fabric. So you go ahead, turn these two to the both wrong side, and go ahead to sew in. So you should sew in by 1/4 inch so that it does not show out. After you sew in, you turn it over just like as you can see. So this, I've gone to do that here. I went ahead to sew in by 1/2 inches, and I just want to trim it out because the lace is not going to cover. Like, I don't want whatever I sew, I don't want it to be shown. So that is what I'm doing here. Okay, so this is what you have after turning it over, and you just want to go ahead to press this part well. Press it before sewing. So I don't know, my lace going to stretch out while sewing. I don't know, it just stretched, so I just went ahead to trim that part out, and this is what I have. And so this is the up part of it, and I want to sew the down part to it. So what I'll be doing first is to remove the pin. So, and I'm going to take one part of it to illustrate. I'm going to do this. So you just like want to turn it just like this on this part, and gather it, gather till what you have. So this is what I have after doing that. So the next that part you're going to also gather is the up part, and literally your sleeve is ready. So I just want to go ahead to repeat this same process for both sides. So before doing that, I went ahead to mark my midpoint so that I don't make a mistake. So it could guide me while gathering. So I'll just go ahead to gather for both sides, gather till when I have my round arm cycle measurement, and this is what I have. And the next thing I want to do now is to sew to my blouse, and literally our blouse is ready. So please don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a beautiful comment. So I went ahead to sew my boning hole. So for the to do the boning hole, so for the boning hole, I did not have the machine, so I went outside, outsourced it for them to do it for me outside. And what I would just want to do after this now is to sew buttons to my up parts. I'm sorry, to the back neck. So for this back neckline, I'm going to be using a bias for this, and there are going to be two parts of it. One is which we have the hole to accommodate the button, and the other part will have the button. So for this part, I would just want to go ahead to fold my bias just as you can see, and go to sew it like this on the parts there where you can see. So I just want to go place these two like this, and go ahead to sew to my machine. Like, ensure to sew this part very tight, just so just as okay, you can so see. After going ahead to sew that part, so I'll just also want to use my bias to cover the rough side, so which is what I'm going to do. So I'll just follow this as I'm showing you, just like this. I'll just want to go ahead to cover it and ensure like that part is neat. And after this, doing the next thing you just want to do is to just sew, pick any button of your thread that you'll be using and use it to sew for the other part of it. So that is that. So I don't know, I just wanted to like show how to go about it. So I don't know, you should try to watch how the part that I sewed, how I sewed the bias, where it was facing, and where the bias is going to face while folding. So I just carefully did this so that you could see it clearly, and I just hope this is clear enough. So this is the end of this video, and please don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and drop a beautiful comment. Thank you for watching.